Since childhood, I have understood myself to be a deeply sensitive person. I felt things that others didn't seem to feel, or I would feel things that I misunderstood. As I kind of developed into my own personal journey, and especially as I entered adulthood, I started to understand that I was deeply empathic and intuitive. I didn't understand that these things that felt very much like weaknesses were actually gifts of mine. And as I started to deep dive, I was reading a lot of books and it sent me down the path of energy work. As I started this energy practice, I learned that I could actually move energy, I could transmute energy.
My name is Ash, but a lot of you will get to know me as the Oracle. I've spent my life learning how to navigate the energy world, the unseen, and my gifts. And they didn't always feel like gifts to me, especially when I was younger. So I spent many years just trying to make sense of what I was feeling in my own body or what I was seeing and receiving. And I spent many more years after that learning how to wield these gifts or dive deep into them even more than what I had. I channel spirit. I am an intuitive collective embodier and also an ascension guide. I help to bring their soul purpose back to the forefront so that they can come back into alignment and consciously move on their path with their soul mission. I look forward to serving each of you and being able to walk beside each of you. And I look forward and hope that you'll join me on the 14th for my first workshop where we'll dive deep into an energetic report and understand what that means for the collective and for you individually.
There was a moment where I did a meditation and I've never had like a voice that wasn't my own come through, but in this moment, there was a voice that came through saying, dissolve the partnership. And I was like, oh, whoa, okay. It felt like this was the right thing to do, but it was also another friction when I would say, like, if you're pulling back and looking at it from God, higher self, or soul, soul was saying, was redirecting in this moment. I had to make that choice to let go of the trifecta. And I ultimately did. Next week, I will be sharing on Thursday a general overview of human design, introductory readings, which would go over some of the top level things that human design speaks to in what they call the body graph. And so that's going to help people begin to trust themselves, begin to have inner guidance, begin to understand how they're uniquely designed, because oftentimes our unique design may be opposite of the conditioning of the world. And so it can feel like a balm to the soul when you start to understand yourself.
There was a time that I believed that life simply happened to me, that events would unfold and then that circumstances would just dictate the outcome. I always just believed from the time I was little bitty that the only real power was in how I reacted after the fact. Christ consciousness whispers something both unsettling, but at the same time, extremely liberating. You're not merely living inside reality, you're actually participating in creation. This is where I came into this divine witnessing, and I actually experienced this in such an incredible way. So I want to explain it like this. Divine witnessing is the practice of seeing through the eyes of Christ, not the fearful self, the self that actually recognizes. We think, then we feel, then we respond. Well, divine witnessing just simply reverses the sequence. And this is what I'll be teaching in my sessions. Divine witnessing is not theory. It is a lived perception. It is moment by moment, conversation by conversation, reaction by reaction. And the more that we can see the truth of that love in us, the more we recognize it in other people.